Welcome to Riding Mower King. In this video here, we're going to look at this Honda HT3813. Now this already has a home it's going to, but I want to check out why the clutch, the drive clutch, is kind of lazy. It doesn't really want to engage. And maybe we'll have time to look at the PTO clutch on this one. So let's look at the PTO clutch once, because that was the main problem with this, that the deck did not engage. Let's see what we can get out of this PTO clutch. So there we can see that the cable is working. The clutch is moving back and forth. But is it moving far enough? Do we need to make an adjustment on that? Is there an adjustment on that? So there is an adjustment down there, and that adjustment is the stop. So that screw down there is the stop. I'm going to guess that that nut is a 12 millimeter. Hey, I guessed right. How about that? So we're going to turn this screw counterclockwise. We're going to back it out a little bit. See if it makes any difference. When we back it out, it's going to let that, well, we're going to try to back it out. There we go. Going to let that clutch get a little closer together. We backed it out like one turn. See if that makes a difference. No, actually, that all was backwards. We want it to come like that. Yeah, that's how we want it to be tight. All right, so we're going to adjust this clutch cable. Okay, so that was all backwards. I was forgetting which way the handle needed to be. So we're going to look at this clutch cable. We're going to extend that housing a little bit. All right, so we're gonna move the clutch cable a little bit further away from that bracket. It's gonna make it a little bit farther that the cable has to travel, which is gonna engage that clutch a little bit harder, a little bit more engagement. As long as we can get these nuts to turn. Luckily, that's the negative battery. No, that is the positive. So we want to make sure we don't touch that. So we need to try and hold this cable, the housing, so it doesn't turn. And get this nut loose, which is all rusty, with almost no space to work. I think I'm going to end up getting that wire out of there. There we go. Now we have a little space. Now we're getting somewhere. But the other one's going to be a little bit harder to get loose. I'm going to have to back this one off even more so I can slide the cable through there and a bracket through the bracket so I can get the wrench on there better. There we go. So this end here, this bolt, this nut on this end is actually going to be how far we're adjusting the cable. So now we put this screw back, or we tighten this nut. And you're not going to notice really any difference until you go to engage the handle. So at this point here, once this is tight, you're not really going to notice anything. So I went about 2.5 turns on that nut. So that's about how much adjustment I'm making. Get all the tools out of the way. Well, let's see if we can get that blade to turn now. Nope, doesn't seem to make any difference yet. Well, when I do it by hand and turn the belt for the blades, it actually cranks the engine over. All right, well, it does actually engage. I'm thinking that some of that problem is that maybe the clutch just doesn't want to slide back and forth to engage all the way. And I did adjust the cable to pull the clutch tighter together, but initially that didn't make any difference. But when I got in there with my pry bar and pried on that clutch to make it actually move a little bit farther, then miraculously it engaged. Because you can see how that clutch is going to go back and forth just that little bit. And what I did was actually enough to make it engage just a little bit farther. So, you know, it's possible, it's very likely it still needs a clutch. But making that adjustment, or, you know, keeping that lubed up, it's probably a pretty old clutch. You know, and there's probably a little bit of rust on the shaft in there, making it move hard. But the previous owner decided it was time for it to go because the deck stopped working on it. And, you know, a little bit of adjustment and tinkering here and there was able to make the blades work again. I could tighten up the cable a little bit more, would definitely make a difference. You know, you might be tempted to spray a little WD-40 or something in there on that clutch, but, if you get it in the wrong spot, which would definitely happen, then it's not going to work at all, because it's just going to be lubricated and it'll slip. So we got the drive clutch working again to where it's a lot better. It feels normal now. And we actually got the blades to go around, but I think that could use a little bit more work. You know, probably needs a new clutch for the PTO. That one doesn't look too bad to change. But, you know, a little bit of adjustment on it will definitely get your grass cut that one last time, or, you know, possibly get you to the end of the season. So yeah, this is the first one of these I've worked on. I've had a couple, but they were Hondas. I didn't really need to do anything. But this is the first one I actually worked on like this. So the drive clutch in the back was something new to me. You know, you're not used to seeing that. And the clutch on the front, being a manual clutch like that, was something new. But we were able to get them both working again. I'm not saying they shouldn't be replaced. They probably should. This is a pretty old machine. But got it back working, at least get the grass cut, you know, that weekend, or, you know, like I say, possibly to the end of the season. So, you know, if you think this video helps a little bit, hit like and subscribe. That way I know to keep doing this stuff, and, you know, eventually my videos will get better someday. But hey, this one here was a success. So we'll see you in the next video.